Welcome to the United British Leagues, where football has changed forever. This is a little passion project of mine I've been working on for a few weeks, and it's on the Steam workshop, and I wanted to show it to the world. It's something that is built in fiction, something that's not real and would never happen, and it's a bit of fun, and I just want to reiterate that I've had fun making it. So without further ado, let's have a look at the database and let's see what's going on and what things you can do in the database and how much fun you can have on your own managing any team pretty much across the British Isles, or in this universe it's called Iona, Isles of the North Atlantic. So if you're interested in the database, it will be in the description below, the Steam workshop link, and I will be adding a download link as well to all of the logos that you can get. I'm still finishing a couple off, but we've got them for the leagues at least so far. We haven't got all of them for the cups, but we'll start off with what is it about. This is basically a proposed fictional union between all nations in the British Isles, sort of like the EU, so each one is its own separate country, but in sporting terms they're all together. Now the way that this has been done is through reputation, which means we've only got two non-English teams in the British Super League, which has been expanded to 24 teams. Every league pretty much bar two have 24 teams. This isn't flexible unless you get down to the regional level. That's when things start getting a little bit confusing, and we will explain that another time depending on how far I get into explaining what is going on with this database. We've got the British Super League, we've got Celtic and Rangers, which are the non-English clubs, and then the British Premier Championship, which is kind of like a bridge between the Premier League and the Championship. So you have got a lot of teams like Forest, Middlesbrough, Huddersfield, but then you've got, your top Scottish sides like Hibernian, Aberdeen. And then further down, you've got the British Challenge League 1, the Challenge League 2, the National Championship 1 and 2. Now this is where the professional leagues end, and once you fall out of the professional leagues, it goes down to regional level straight away. So you've got the North Prime and South Prime division. Prime just meaning kind of first entry level into professional. And with these two divisions, the North is Scotland and Ireland, and the South is England and Wales. This is kind of like, it could have been the West and the East, but just the way it is. And then it breaks down again into the Welsh, Scottish, Irish and English Prime divisions, which then drop down to more regional levels, all the way down to the English Prime divisions 3A and 3B. Now this is an extra step to make it 10 tiers. There isn't a 10th tier of, say, Wales or Scotland or Ireland, but the only reason this has been done is due to reputation. I mean, the reputation of the Scottish teams in the 2B is low. I mean, you've got a half-star reputation, then you've got a 1-star reputation here, so technically you could be taking teams higher up that are worse. I mean, if we have a look here, we've got, Canvey Island and Folkestone to name the least couple of teams, like Met Police. So it does bring this interesting idea of, if you want to take your local team that potentially is one of your local teams from that very bottom division, then it's going to be a slight bigger climb. Say if it's an English team, but if it's a Welsh team in a low division, then it's going to be a slightly easier climb, but you're going to hit a level where you're going to find it tough. You might be stuck in a league for a few years. And also one of the things with this database is there are a lot of cups. There's a lot of games to be played, which means you want to expand. I mean, it's a maximum registration for the top professional leagues of 30 players, but outside of that you can have more players. Then if we have a look at the British United Cup, this is kind of the FA Cup. Reputation wise, it is above the Copa del Rey, and funnily enough the League Cup is also above the German FA Cup, but we have 512 out of 520. Now this is random, and it's the maximum amount of teams I can actually place in to the database. I have tried working it out, but it just doesn't let you go any further than 512. So each year that is kind of worked out to some degree, sort of random. It will be the bottom teams. I've staggered it a little bit. So if we go into stages, second round. So the first round is just all of your regional teams, and then the second round will be sort of regional plus a few professional, and the third round is where kind of like it's mainly professional. But this gives an opportunity for these regional teams to kind of push their way through. There is basically 10 rounds, but then if we go and click on the United British League Cup, sorry, that will be just between sort of the British Super League teams all the way down to the National Championship 2. So British professional leagues basically. We've got the British Super Cup, which will be between the winner of the United British Cup, the British FA Cup basically, and the British Super League. So there's a chance that that could be, you know, Aberdeen versus Manchester City, for example. And then the further down we've got the British Prime Cup, which is going to be between the North and South Prime divisions, I'm pretty sure. And then we've got regional cups for each of the Prime regional divisions. So that would be like, say, if it was your English, it would be your Prime Division 1, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B. Again, like a mini FA Cup for the smaller teams. Then the British Challenge Cup is kind of like your English Papa John's trophy, but without the under-23 teams. This is kind of like a bridge trophy, so the teams in the National Championship 2 will be battling it out all the way up to the Challenge League 1, rather than having to fight the likes of Man City for a trophy, which makes it more interesting. As I said, there are more games, 24 teams in the British Super League. If, say, you enter here at the third round, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more games, plus the League Cup, plus continental competitions. It does pile up, which means it gives this interesting dynamic of bringing in more players and registering totally different players for different squads. It does make it interesting, because there is no limit to the amount of players you can have in your squad. It's just registration. There is 30 maximum, which is a bit higher than normal, but we're going to have to see how that works for people. It's worked well enough for myself. I mean, I've tested it on multiple different leagues. There is one interesting nuance about this though, in the way that regional leagues are set. It creates kind of this square, circle, triangle of, you choose boundaries, east, north, south, west boundaries, and that is based on the city, which makes it quite interesting to the point where you might have the odd English team creep into the regional divisions for, say, and for the final section we're going to be talking about finances. If we go to the Super League, we can see, if we go into rules, prize money, here we go, all the way down to 7th place, there is chances for European competitions. Now, 2 of them are depending on the United British Cup and the UEFA Europa League. And prize money, there is a lot to be won. If we go down, prize money per win, 100,000, and prize money per defeat is still even 25,000. The parachute payment is 5 million over a couple of years. But the thing that benefits the teams the most is the TV money. Now, you can't actually see this, I'm pretty sure, but the TV money is massive for teams. And we've also got rid of Brexit, and work permit rules are pretty much 0 to none. There are a few rules in place, so like players are allowed to go on a short-term loan to the same club for a maximum of 6 months during the season. Squad registration, here we go. This is where it gets interesting, because the way it's set up is minimum of 4 players trained at the club or trained in the same nation for 3 years before 21st birthday. So you can have homegrown, but it is sort of helping you if you're, say, a Scottish team based in Scotland but playing in England, which is why the minimum of 8 players trained in the same nation for 3 years means that you are still going to have to sort of transfer players. But that minimum of 4 just helps it if you have got a lot of what would have been homegrown players in Scotland in the nation of England. The final thing about eligibility is players can't play competitive matches for more than 2 clubs between sort of the whole year. So 3 clubs if a player moves between clubs belonging to different associations with overlapping seasons. One of the final things I wanted to show you was checking out the Prime Division 3A. So prize money per win £775 and prize money per draw £400. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but again, I think the initial TV money given to teams is 20,000 in this final tier, and that 20,000 goes a long way for a lot of small teams. And one of the final things that you want to do is, if we start a new career game, when you're selecting your divisions here, what we need you to do is click this little key down here, bottom left, add players to playable teams. And what this does is basically create a bunch of new gens to fill any sort of gaps in teams, because a lot of these teams don't have as many players as we'd like. Bases them off of the reputation of the team, off of kind of like the youth rating of the team as well, and it kind of creates a player that should work out just about in that league. And sometimes you'll get players with like 135 potential, depending again on the league they're in. And untick, do not add key staff, because again that's really important. But yeah, we will be back for another episode of simulating 10 years into the future and seeing who wins what in these leagues. Thank you for watching. This has just been like a little intro for the database, big intro, whatever you want to say. If you've got any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll be back for the next video.